This is an exclusive presentation of WOWO 1190 AM and 107.5 FM, Unholstered.
We are back. Hopefully you're having a good weekend. Welcome on in here to Unholstered. My name is Kayla Blakesley, and I'm just one of your hosts here on the show.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia Rosales-Scatina. I'm a captain with the Fort Wayne Police Department, and welcome back to Unholstered.
This show is all about the stories and topics that don't often get told or shared when it comes to law enforcement. Not only locally here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where we are based out of, but we touch all the topics across the country. I always say no topic is left off the table. Before we dive into today's episode, which today is going to be all about the holiday season, how to, have your wits about you when you're shopping during the holidays. We want to talk about porch pirates, all the things. But in honor of the holidays and in honor of our first responders, I wanted to bring this up, Sophia, because I thought this was really great. The owner of the Golden Corral reached out and talked about, potentially having a moment on Unholstered and got to chit-chatting. Well, why? What's going on? And they are hosting their first ever First Responders Day on December 13th. This is really cool. It's kind of like their Military Appreciation Day that they do. But at the Fort Wayne Golden Corral on Tuesday, December 13th, they are going to offer a free thank you meal to our first responders, firefighters, police officers, paramedics, healthcare workers all fall under that category. And when I learned of this, I thought, oh my gosh, I will absolutely share that on Unholstered. That's what we are all about, praising and celebrating our first responders. So I couldn't wait to share that with you. So you can make sure you tell all your friends.
We will. They contacted us a little while back, and I know someone has put it out already, but we'll do reminders because
so you already knew about it too?
Yes, we do often forget about these things, though.
But I thought I was going to tell you some big exciting news.
No, it's still good to hear. And it's good that people do these kinds of things. It's really hard sometimes to get everyone and thank everyone for the job that they do. But these little kind of thank yous that the community gives really lets us know that we're supported here and we really can continue on with the work we do. Because sometimes it is draining, especially this time of year. We just deal with the worst of society all the time. So it's really hard when we have those moments of goodness that come our way. Mm-hmm. It's like, is this real?
Yeah, right. That's so true. I mean, obviously you need to prove that you're a first responder. But I mean, and you even said it when you walked into the studio today. I said, hey, how's it going? You go, tired.
Yeah.
And you even said, you're like, this time of year, you can't even remember what day of the week it is because you guys are all over the place.
Yeah, it's so fast. Things are coming so fast towards the end of the year as we wrap it up. And, you have your own personal stuff going on, and then you have work and duties you have to your people. And so it's a lot. It's emotionally draining. It's physically draining. And I just feel like I'm tired all the time and I don't know what day it is. So I rely heavily on my watch.
Tuesday, December 13th. Yes. That is the day where first responders eat free at the Fort Wayne Golden Corral. Something else that I learned, by the way, the Fort Wayne Golden Corral and the one in Lima. Our owner is local. He's a local guy and he owns both of them. And if you listen to my radio program on a regular basis that I do here during the week in Fort Wayne, I'm all about supporting local. I come from a small business family. Sometimes I feel like people forget how important our local businesses are to our community and to our police officers and firefighters and so on and so forth. So I thought, to me, this was just the perfect combination, obviously for you from the first responder aspect, and then me, that it is a locally owned restaurant.
Yeah, that's really good to know because I, too, came from a small business background with family.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
My dad owned a restaurant. So I really enjoy the local fare, always supporting local when I can.
Well, one more time, mark it down in your calendar, December 13th. The Fort Wayne Golden Corral, proud to be offering all first responders, and that includes firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and healthcare workers, a free thank you meal. Again, obviously, you need to be able to prove that you are a first responder. I will leave that up to the Golden Corral. I should also mention, by the way, this is dine-in only. So no, Sophia, I know you're busy, I know you're tired, but you cannot drive through. You've got to dine in only, and obviously then have your identification or proof of employment.
Yeah, just toss me a chicken wing.
Just toss one out the window. Yeah. Go long, Sophia. All right. Well, like I said, what a great holiday feel-good moment. And that's what we're talking about today. The holidays, because they are here. They are upon us. I cannot believe it.
Already.
And I always think it's so important this time of year. And you know this. I have had so many conversations with you about this because I have a daughter now. She's 2, and she loves to shop. I've already taught her, teaching her young, I guess. I don't know if that's good or bad. I love to shop. I love to Christmas shop. But at the same time, I know I am an incredibly vulnerable person while shopping. A lot of times because A, I'm holding her some of the times. I mean, she walks now. B, I'm holding my purse. I'm holding bags. I still need to put her in and out of a car seat. I'm always so aware of my six, as you guys say, you know, as I am loading and unloading, especially with her. But I'd love if you could start there, because there are so many tips when it comes to being a cognizant shopper, a safe shopper.
Yes. There are many things you need to keep in mind. You know, as we moved into the daylight savings time, I feel like we lost like a whole amount of light that we would use to go shopping. And, you know, so we really need to be hyper aware. And I know women already have this sense of fear that men just don't have. Men seem to go around, you know, as I would like to think everybody should be able to do that. But as women, we're just different, right? So we're always hyper aware. We're always hypersensitive. And I think we need to follow those feelings that we have, those intuitions that we have, because they really are meaningful. So basically, if you can, shop with someone else. Yeah. So that you two are, while you're putting your daughter in the back of the car seat, you know, this person's here, sitting here watching and looking around you. If you cannot do that, try to do your shopping during the day, or park in a really well-lit area or closer to the doors of the store. I had a friend who called me the other evening, like 3:30 in the morning, that she was petrified because she had gone late to a local hardware store here in town, went in, and someone said some really sexual, explicit things to her. Yeah. And she became really scared. She was in there alone. It was in the evening, so it was dark, and she just felt like something was wrong. It turned out okay, but these are the realities that a lot of women face, and I don't think we should poo-poo them or brush them aside, because this is someone's reality. But always be aware of who's around you, especially leaving a store. Who's behind you. Look while you're shopping. Who's around you? Sometimes people follow people in stores, and I'm not saying it happens all the time, but you know, it only takes one time.
Right, it only takes one time. Yeah. Kind of on that note, Sophia, this happened to me a couple of years ago, before I knew you, as well as I know you now. Yes. A woman was parking her car in a parking garage in downtown Fort Wayne and was getting out of her vehicle, and it just so happened a gentleman that I know was also kind of down a ways in the garage nearby, and this woman was attacked by someone in full-on camouflage, came up behind her and started choking her, and kept calling her by the name of Blakesley. Kept going on and on and on and on about how he hates her show. He can't stand her on the radio, and starts talking a lot of politics and lewd comments. This man thought this woman was very clearly me. It was not me. This gentleman kind of ran to her aid, if you will, broke it up. The guy took off running. There were security cameras, luckily, in the parking garage. It turned into a whole thing. And I won't get into all of it. But luckily, this gentleman knew me, called me. We had photos of the man from the incident, so that I was able to be aware of who this person is, what he looked like, his full makeup. But now I have this really real fear. I am a 34-year-old woman of parking garages. And to your point of going with friends and shopping with friends, my best friend, just a couple weekends ago, we were going downtown to the Botanical Conservatory for their little Christmas spiel that they have. And I called her and I said, hey, I'm in lot 225. Will you park next to me? And she knows the whole story. So she's like, yep, don't get out of your car till I get there, you know, because it's one of those things. I have this crazy, irrational fear, which quite frankly, really maybe isn't that irrational.
No, I don't think so at all. And, you know, to your point, this doesn't happen all the time.
No.
But it only, like I said, it only takes once to freak you out.
Yeah, right.
And as a woman, I totally get that fear.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a police officer, you know, I still look around. I'm hyper vigilant, and that's probably police officer stuff, but it's woman stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that I'm not armed. But, you know, there's certain places I can't be armed all the time.
Right, exactly.
You know, like at the gym or something like that. Yeah, so it's really hard to exercise with a gun on you.
Well, this is true.
So, you know, things like that. But I just want people to just be aware of their surroundings. And like I said, it's not always possible to go shopping with someone.
Right.
So try and do it at a time where there's a lot of people there. Exit as other people are exiting. And try to just maintain where you are around your car.
That's a good strategy, too. Exit while others are exiting.
And if you really feel like it's late and there's no one else in the store and you ask the store for an escort out the door. They'll probably give it to you.
Geez, I just did that in New York City. I had to catch a flight from LaGuardia. My flight was at like 4 a.m. So I had to leave at an obscene. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was getting an Uber. And I'm like, great, I'm in New York City. I'm alone, downtown, getting an Uber. And so I asked the hotel guy there at the front desk, because they're always there. I said, hey, do you mind just like hanging here while I get into this Uber vehicle and make sure all is well? And then, of course, I set my ping to my husband and whatnot. But yeah, that's a great suggestion and option as well.
Yeah, and most stores are happy to do that. Yeah. And even, my dad had a restaurant, and this is for people in the restaurant business or any other business. Do not leave solo from a business.
Yeah.
Leave as a group. We always left as a group. If that required my dad paying overtime for someone to stay 15, 20 minutes just so everyone could leave as a group, he did it because he knew the importance of leaving as a group. And it does make a difference. It won't stop everything, but it will stop most things.
What about, I know this is a big one too, porch pirates, as I mentioned that. And I feel like I don't know how to stop people from having this happen because it unfortunately happens a lot.
Well, the easiest way is just to have your stuff delivered to your work if your boss allows it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can do, most of those things will say shipping address can be different from your credit card billing address.
Yeah.
But just make sure you're clicking the right one.
Sophia, I feel so silly. I always have my husband's items shipped to my work just so he doesn't see the boxes or anything like that. But I'm like, well, why don't I do that with everything else?
Yeah. And you're here all day. You're able to take those, or you have someone that's able to take those for you. Just make sure your boss is okay with that. My parents are retired, so if I need, I can ship it to their house. Just different things like that. Sometimes you have people that work third shift, and you can say, as long as they don't ring the doorbell, put those in the notes.
Right, yeah.
But you can have them shipped to a friend's house, too. And I know I have friends that do that more for the sake of keeping things secret.
Right.
But I do have friends that ship things to my home.
But to try and avoid those porch pirates.
Yeah, to try and avoid the porch pirates. And unfortunately, we just have segments of our society that will go around taking things that aren't theirs, and that's a shame. It's a real shame.
What about, break-ins? You do have all these items that you just purchased or that you are carrying into your home. It's traditionally around this time of year, folks are buying electronics and toys and what have you.
Yeah, and as the economy keeps getting worse and worse, I think people are becoming more desperate as well. So we'll probably see increase in theft, increase in home burglaries, things like that throughout this season and early into next year. But we encourage people not to just throw out the box and show everybody what you just got. Make sure you're cutting those things up, putting them in the recycle bins if you live in the city, or just putting them in the trash, a little bit at a time. Because sometimes, people have stuff sticking out all over, and
you can see that brand new 55-inch plasma screen TV box that you're talking
4K,
about.
5K, 8K.
You bring up an interesting point, and I know you said we'll likely see an uptick in home burglaries and thefts going into the new year after the holiday. But with inflation and everything going on, have you guys already seen an uptick?
I think we've seen an uptick in. We generally have a lot.
You usually do around the holidays, probably anyway.
We do anyway. A lot of car break-ins because people will leave packages and gifts and things in plain view.
The number one thing, and I've known you for, I've spoken to you as a PIO in years, for probably a decade now, but I will never forget the advice that you gave back in the day as a PIO with packages in your car. Don't give thieves a reason. Don't give them a reason.
Yeah,
if they
but we still have people that do.
I know.
Still
You see that Best Buy shopping bag in there?
Not just that. Their purses, computers, phones, everything just right on the front seat.
Don't give them a reason.
And then some people leave their doors unlocked with all that stuff in there.
That's even more amazing.
Because we get breakdowns of the car break-ins, especially burglaries as well. But we get those breakdowns of the car break-ins, and they do them by quadrant, and then they list: was it locked, was it unlocked, window broken, key, lock disabled, whatever. And more times than not, the door is unlocked and people just have their car full of stuff. But we have had a rash of someone, especially in the downtown area, breaking car windows. So that has become a real problem, and I probably think it's just one person doing that because it just seems to go in certain areas at certain times.
Yeah.
But it's always a problem all year round. But this time of year, when people just have more packages and things in their cars, it's
Don't
just
give
a
them a
crime of
reason.
opportunity. Don't. Nope.
We have to talk about, too, I feel like, drinking and driving.
Oh,
just safety behind the wheel in general. What a quick way to ruin your holiday, someone else's holiday, real quick in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, you really need to think this season as you're out celebrating. And I'm not saying don't celebrate.
We are all for celebration.
We are all for celebration.
Sophia and I both.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a party to go to this weekend, and it's an old-fashioned party, so I cannot
and
wait.
That's right up your alley.
It's right up my alley.
Oh, my gosh.
But I also know it's in my neighborhood, so I'll probably just walk there and walk home. But manage those drinks. So and you can go back and listen to our episode on drinking and driving where we tell you about how many drinks you can drink per hour. And it really depends on your tolerance, body weight, male, female. There is a lot of science behind that. But generally, if you stick to one mixed drink an hour, couple that with a glass of water, you'll be fine. If 2 beers and I think 2 glasses of wine, 1 shot or 1 mixed drink per hour, you're going to probably be in that safety zone. Anything more than that, you're probably going to want to have someone else drive. Because remember, it's 0.08. Yeah. And everyone's tolerance is different. Everyone's body weight and how they metabolize the alcohol is different. But you do not want to get this charge. It's just, it's a big thing, but more than the charge, you could really hurt someone or kill someone, and it's just not necessary. Get an Uber, have a friend come and pick you up. Find someone who doesn't drink.
We usually do have the holiday cab situation.
We do, but it takes forever.
Oh, does it?
I've never used it. A lot of people use it, but it does take a long time. And, like you've said before, just build in $20 for an Uber.
Yep.
It's $20 for the night. Share that ride with friends.
If you can't afford the $20 for the Uber, you probably shouldn't be going out drinking it to begin with.
Because that's more expensive than $20.
Exactly. You said it, though. You talked about going back and listening to previous episodes of Unholstered. You can download us anywhere you download a podcast, but that's probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Who was our guest name?
Lieutenant Mays.
Lieutenant Mays. You guys were talking about, and I'm going to call it training.
Yeah.
The impaired training that you go through, where half of you do consume alcohol, the other half of you don't, and there's walking involved, testing involved.
Yeah.
I mean, it blew my mind, actually, hearing what you guys go through for this.
Yeah, it was eye-opening for me.
It was eye-opening listening to you, too. First of all, just because I had no idea y'all did that.
Yeah.
And then second of all, again, that kind of chemical scientific makeup of you versus, Lieutenant Mays, and how very different just you two are.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention, too, if you do get arrested for operating while intoxicated, you will sit in the jail until you come down to a level that's legal for you enough to leave.
Oh.
So you have to be below 0.08 for them to release you. So depending on where you are, they have a time schedule. So it is an OR release, but you do have to sit until you are at that level. So everyone has to do that.
Wow.
It's not, you just don't get
I'm assuming that
released.
time frame is also different per person. Or do you have like a general?
It's a standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So everyone has so if you're like a 0.15, say you'd have to sit like 6 hours and 30 minutes before that comes down to a level where they can release you.
Wow.
And because you could be released if you were a 1.5, they could book you in, release you, and you can get back in a car and drive again.
Right.
So they make you wait until you are below the legal limit or where you should be, body wise.
I just didn't realize it takes that long.
Yeah, I mean, some people, depending where they are in there for hours.
Wow.
Hours. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's definitely an episode I'd tell people to go back and listen to.
And I don't think we touched on that in that episode, but
No,
that's why I wanted to bring.
Yeah,
I know. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think a lot of people have this misnomer of people are just booked in and released.
Yeah.
Or some people are booked in and released, and others are held. No, everybody's released on that charge, but you do have to wait until your time.
Like I said, what a way to ruin your holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Someone else's holiday. Like I said, worst case scenario, you kill someone. I mean, that would just be
or
horrifying.
Hurt someone, or you crash your car and you cause damage, and it's not worth it. It really isn't. And I'm all for celebrating. I love celebration. I love.
She loves a good old fashioned.
I do love a good old fashioned.
Nice cigar.
Bourbon is my drink. Yeah, with an occasional cigar. But I just want everyone to just do it with a little bit of care and a little bit of caution.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think that's so refreshing about you, Sophia, and everyone that you've brought in here from the Fort Wayne Police Department. You're all honest, open, you're human. Yeah. I mean, you just said it. Bourbon is my, old fashions are my drink. Bourbon is my drink.
Yes.
you're not under the guise of any unrealistic expectations of
No,
people.
not at all. Goodness gracious. Trying to keep it authentic here.
The other topic that I wanted to touch on, speaking of driving, is just travel in general. What's your best advice? I mean, so many people travel, obviously, for the holidays. A lot of folks will likely be driving because the cost to fly right now is insane. I mean, not that it's not cheap to dry and fill up your gas tank right now, too. That's still really expensive. But best tips you got for us there?
Okay, there's several here on this area. So first and foremost is if you are going to travel for the holidays, hold back on posting those photos of you being out of town until you get back. You don't want to post that you're out of town and now everyone knows where you live.
That you're out of town,
and knows you're out of town. So that's just advertising that you're not there and it's not good. So just hold those posts until you get back to town, unless you have someone at your house living there while you're gone. It's always a good idea to preserve those things. And this is not just for the holiday season, this is for any time of the year.
Yeah.
Wait till you get back home to post those, because people know you're gone and they will take liberties. And if you think you have your Facebook or Instagram locked down, I assure you it is not locked down. There's one of your friends somewhere who will talk, and it might be completely innocent, about you being on vacation, or show someone and you never know who they're showing. So just always assume that your Facebook is wide open for everyone to see. Secondly, when you are traveling, especially in the winter time, you want to make sure that you have some sort of flashlight, a blanket, some water. I would even say put a candle in your car, because if your car goes out, you want to maintain some heat, and a candle's a small way of doing that. Just put a little pillar candle in there. You can light it, keep your hands warm. It's better than nothing.
That's funny. My father-in-law, that's what he asked for Christmas, was an emergency kit for his car, because he does do a lot of driving and traveling, particularly over the holidays. Yeah, and I'm like, how do you not have one of these yet?
It's so important, and I think sometimes we neglect that. I mean, if you have flares, put a flare in there.
He wanted the LED flare kit. Yes.
There's so many LED things that they have now for traffic, so you can remain visible. We don't know what the winter months have in store for us. We assume because the weather's nice, it's always going to be nice, or it's going to be nice through the traveling season, but that's not always so. So snow can come very quickly. Ice can come very quickly. So you just want to make sure that you have these things in your car. And while you're at it, just throw them in your kids' car, too. Yeah. I make sure both my kids have blankets. They have jumper cables, everything they need for their cars in case they get stuck somewhere.
I got jumper cables. I don't know how to use them, but they are in my car.
And if you can look for it, I bought one of these small little jump packs. You can get them. They're like $80. I think I got mine at Costco for like $60 a couple years ago. And it's a charger. So it'll charge your phone. It'll charge
that's a cool gift.
Your car. It has little jumper cables attached to it, and it will get you a full jump. I keep that in my squad car all the time, and I help people in the wintertime if they need a jump. And it charges through your cigarette lighter, so you could just keep it on in your car charged.
Wow.
I do keep a full charge through the winter. I take it and occasionally recharge it. But I do have that available in case I need to stop and help someone. And it has come in handy more times than not. And then you could also, if your phone runs out, you have this charger pack that'll charge for hours. It can charge several cell phones as well.
That's fantastic.
As other little devices that you may need.
To that point, boy, I feel like I have stories that identify with all of these tips, and I don't know if that's good or bad. But gosh, it was probably 7-8 years ago. I was driving along I-69. It was probably about 11 o'clock at night, and I hit a deer. And it almost totaled my car. And I could barely wiggle off to the side of the road. I mean, my one tire was gone. It was a hot mess, right? A, I had nothing in my car. And then B, I just start to dial. I'm a AAA member, AAA holder. I just start to dial AAA. My phone died. Of course, I did not have a charger in my car. And there I sat, like almost on the verge of tears, did not know what to do. And by the grace of God, police officer with the Fort Wayne Police Department comes driving up, said, hey, I saw the deer still back there in the middle of the road. Saw some blood and some skid marks. He goes, figured if I went a little farther, I'd find someone down here. And I'm telling you, grace of God saved my life. Well, he called a tow truck driver for me, the whole nine. But to your point, yes, I learned very quickly that night I need to have all the things in my vehicle.
Yeah, and it's the season for deer. I mean, they're coming out now. They're going to be on the road, as well as weather. And I know people enjoy my social media posts for the department when I talk about the winter weather, but it's true. As that stuff comes, you need to give yourself time to get somewhere. Give yourself a safe following distance.
Especially that first snowfall. I always say the first
awful.
Is the worst because it's like you kind of have forgotten how to drive in the snow over the last, 7, 8, 9 months that we've gone without it. So I do always say the first is the worst. Sophia, like usual, we're about out of time, but I do want to make sure I throw one more mention out about, just because I think this is just so fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Tuesday, December 13th, all of our first responders eat for free at the Fort Wayne Golden Corral. This is dine-in only. You obviously have to show proof of employment. And when I say first responders, yes, obviously I'm talking about police officers, but also our firefighters, our paramedics, our healthcare workers. Y'all qualify. And this is a really just cool thing that a local owner is doing there at the Golden Corral. So you can get out to the Fort Wayne Golden Corral. I'm looking at you, Sophia, on Tuesday, December 13th. Definitely check it out.
Will do. Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
Coming up here as we wrap up the end of, I can't even believe it, as we're about to wrap up the year.
That's crazy.
And head into 2023. Last year we had on Chief Reed. Kind of did a look back and then a look ahead. I'm hoping we can do that as well.
Yes, I am in talks with him now. We're securing a date to do that. Schedules are completely booked for you as well with your new move, and then mine is filling up fast too, but we'll find a way to get him in here and get him interviewed. And
I'd really encourage people to listen to Chief Reed and what he has to say, not only about the last year. Looking back is always great, but I love, at least last year, I love that look ahead, so you know what's coming for our local police department in, well, last year's obviously 2022, but this year we'll know going into 2023 what we can expect, what we can expect, what we're hoping for, what we're hoping to remedy. I mean, it's just a really great look forward as we start into the new year. So if you can't catch us Saturday mornings here on WOWO, you can always download the Unholstered podcast anywhere you download a podcast. Your town, your team, your topics. This is Unholstered.
Thanks for listening to Unholstered. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen. And remember, you can listen every Saturday morning at 10:30 on WOWO 1190 and 107.5 FM.
Podcasts by Federated Media.